That was Johnny Bush with Undo the Right. You're listening to Mornings with Lone Star. It is 8:16. Like I told you guys, I have some special guests in the studio this morning, and this is the folks from the B17 Texas Raiders.org. I'm going to just keep using the website to remind you guys. Go check it out right now as you're listening to us. They're in the studio talking about this upcoming May 10th and May 25th event happening at Hooks Airport in Spring, Texas. If you don't know what's going on over there, they have a B-17G Texas Raider airplane that you can get in. You can even fly in it, from what I understand. But I had the folks, Nancy, and your name is
Chris.
I was gonna go for it. I was gonna say Chris, but I was afraid. But welcome to the studio. Welcome to the studio.
Good morning, Dick. We're happy to be here.
And so you guys put this B-17 together. It was put together a while back, and y'all been taking care of it. And basically,
Yes,
if folks can come out on May 10th and May 25th at Hooks Airport and see the airplane.
That's right.
And then also ride in the airplane.
That's right. We're part of the Commemorative Air Force. The CAF is a national organization, and their mission is to acquire and restore and fly and educate the public about vintage military aircraft and their role in U.S. history.
They have a huge role in U.S. history.
Absolutely. This particular airplane was a fearsome World War II weapon. We are here in Spring, Texas. We are the Gulf Coast Wing, a unit of the Commemorative Air Force, and we are charged with the care and feeding of the B-17 Texas Raiders.
Because you guys travel all across Texas, and like y'all actually will be coming to Conroe in June. If I'm reading the event planner correctly, I hope that's right.
That's right.
So y'all come over here, which is some people, if they can't make it out there, always check out the website for GulfCoastWing.org for the schedule of appearances with this airplane, because it's a cool deal. And if I'm reading it right, it's $10 per tour, $5 for children under 12, and then if you actually want to fly, how many flights do y'all usually have a day for these 2 days?
Well, it depends on the demand, of course, but on a given day we might do 2, 3, or even 4 if the public is really enthusiastic about getting on the airplane with us. Yes, the airplane does tour around Texas and points outside too. It just came back last month from 2.5 weeks in Florida, where we were a huge hit at a couple of really big air shows on the Florida Gulf Coast.
I believe, because it's pretty loud, isn't it, Chris?
Oh, absolutely.
Because actually, I always like telling people, I don't know if it was the B-17, but if you watch Star Wars Episode 2, the very beginning, where it's Princess Amidala's ship flying over, it's actually, I want to say it's a B-17 modified, the engine sound.
Right, it very well could be.
Yeah, because these engines make a unique sound.
Right, they don't make radial engines like they used to. So when one of these old World War II era aircraft fly over, it's a distinct sound. You can't miss it.
Because you guys, and they have similar airplanes in Galveston that I see a couple of times.
Yes.
And is it you guys, or
That's actually the Lone Star Flight Museum, and they also have a B-17 along with a lot of other aircraft. And so that's the same radial engine, World War II era noise that you get. I hate to call it noise, but sound.
Well, no, really is. Some people get frightened, like, what is that noise outside? And it's a giant airplane flying over. But so, do you guys ever have dogfights with those dudes? Sounds like I should.
No, but it would be awesome. Maybe even race for pink slips, perhaps. Their B-17 against ours. But no, we don't. We get along with them. We see them on the air show circuit, obviously, at different events throughout the year, and they're nice guys, and we sure like flying with basically all the museums. Everybody seems pretty cool. Everybody who restores these aircraft and have the passion for the history and so forth. It's neat.
There's probably room for all of us because there are so few these aircraft left. The U.S. built 12,700 and something B-17s during World War II. There are 9 that are currently flying, and in even a small number in museums that are static. But there's a finite number of these aircraft that are left, and the opportunity to get to see one is pretty rare. The opportunity to get to actually go inside and tour inside one that's been very authentically restored is a treat. And of course, the chance to fly in one is a once-in-a-lifetime kind of experience.
Especially with Memorial Day coming up.
Yes.
So that's going to be, I bet that this month's pretty huge for you guys.
We are
sure.
We are dedicating the month of May to honoring our veterans and doing stops in cities around Texas in recognition of veterans. And when we go into these towns around Texas, we invite our veterans to come see us. Our World War II veterans, of course, are our honored guests whenever we arrive in town. We've had the opportunity to meet a few already this month. Folks who are interested in learning about those stops can go onto the website, as you were saying a moment ago, B17 Texas Raiders.org. Or you can call us on the phone, too, at 855 Fly a B17, and we'll tell you all about it.
Fly a B17. That's 855 Fly a B17. That's pretty cool. Little phone number you guys got there. So B17 Texas Raiders. That's the main ship when you airship, I guess, because these things are huge. You can call them an airship, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Is that the fair statement there? I mean, you have 4 engines, right? How many is it? Total 4.
Total of 4.
And then how many people can fit inside?
Well, back in the day, it was made for a crew of 10. We can fit a few extra people in there, but basically it's a huge aircraft or airship. Absolutely.
Are the gun turrets operational?
The top one is actually a mock turret, so that people could get in and actually tour through with ease. But the rest of the turrets are basically operational. And needless to say, we only have operating machine guns, but if we were called into action, I suppose we could probably do that as well.
That would be a funny scenario, but we don't have to talk about that.
Right.
But
we love to take the kids on the airplane, and sometimes I'll work at an air show in front of the airplane, taking tours and offering tours to the public, and it's usually a huge selling point when the family approaches with the boys in tow, especially, and they ask about what's inside the aircraft. And we post the crew inside the aircraft, and so we can tell the public there'll be a crew member inside at the cockpit telling you what you're looking at in the cockpit and what's inside the radio room, and you can put your hands on the machine guns.
If I'm allowed, I'm a toucher, so if I'm allowed to touch stuff, it's a good day by me. When you
As soon as we mention the 50 calibers, the kids are me.
Yeah. That's right.
That's what I would do. Well, folks, I'm sitting here with the people from B17 Texas Raiders.org. They have a huge event coming up this weekend at Hooks Airport, and also on May 25th. It's you're eligible to fly in a B17. We're going to take a quick break, and while we're gone, I want you to check out www.b17texasraiders.org to find out more information about my 2 guests right here. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the do's and don'ts when it comes to B17, because I would do all the don'ts, and because you gotta get that out of the way until you start enjoying yourself. But I have a special song that was written for people who were in the Air Force by Rodney Foster. It's called Angel Flight. This is kind of a cool song.
A good one,
so
great one.
If you know what this is, it's about the whole operation of flying, and it's dedicated to the people who are in service. So here's some Rodney Foster, Angel Flight. You're listening to Lone Star in the Mornings. We'll be right back with the B-17 Texas Raiders.
Howdy, folks. Cable Smith, host of the Lone Star Outdoors Show, inviting you to join me Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 on Lone Star Internet Radio for Texas' premier hunting, fishing, and outdoor talk show. So pour yourself another cup of coffee and pull up that stool a little closer to the old campfire, because if you can catch it or kill it in Texas, we're going to talk about it. That's right. Bucks and ducks, gobblers, monster bass, redfish, trout, and a whole lot more. Plus, you never know what outdoor celebrity is going to drop by, from Phil the Duck Commander Robertson to fishing legend Bill Dance or everybody's favorite uncle Ted Nugent. Heck, we might even mix in an interview and hear some brand spanking new Texas music from one of your favorite Texas musicians like Robert Earl Keen, Brandon Ryder, or the honky-tonk kid himself, Aaron Watson. Loved or hated but never ignored, it's the Lone Star Outdoors Show with me, Cable Smith, Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 right here on Lone Star Internet Radio on irlonestar.com.
Hi, I'm Tina, and I will be your host for a new program on Lone Star Internet Radio. I call it Retro Saturdays. Every Saturday at 5 p.m., I will be playing music from the 1930s to the 1970s. I will play a different genre of music every weekend of the month. You will hear big band music, jazz, 70s classic rock, and 60s oldies. Join us for Retro Saturdays at 5 p.m. every Saturday of the month. Go to irlonestar.com for more information on Retro Saturdays on Lone Star Internet Radio.
That was Rodney Foster, Angel Flight. You're listening to Mornings with Lone Star. It is 8:28. I'm hanging out here with the folks from B17 Texas Raiders.org. I'm just going to keep saying that email address because you guys need to check it out. They do a lot of neat stuff around the Houston, Montgomery County area, Houston area, and especially Texas. But more importantly, coming up this weekend at Hooks Airport, which is about a 35, 40-minute drive. Actually, it's probably about a 45-minute drive here from downtown Conroe. Over at Hooks Airport, you're able to see their B-17. That's right. They have a lot of cool stuff going on, and I'm going to talk to Chris. Chris is their historian. Is that the correct term? Or
Yes, sir. The unit historian for the Gulf Coast Wing, who takes care of the B-17 Texas Raiders. Yeah.
So you're the one with the oil and the rags, and you're going. You're cleaning it. You're
no. We have a maintenance. No,
you're not the buffer.
No, I do like to wipe her down after she flies. She puts out an awful lot of oil in flight. Believe it or not, the old radial engines. But no, that we have a group of guys, the maintenance crew, who, man, they're just awesome. They're all volunteers. Some of them are actually A&P mechanics, which is the FAA certification for aviation mechanics. And man, they really keep her going. And we have a tight schedule to keep, and they do an awesome job. So I used to be one of those guys, but I don't have the time, and these guys are just they're amazing.
Because it was funny with this situation with your B-17. I imagine the opportunities for people who are interested in flight have unlimited resources, coming seeing the engines. Like, how receptive are you to these people who? Because I know like some people who fly have to have a certain amount of hours. Now, would this B-17 be an option for them to learn how to fly, or be like a co-pilot kind of thing, or is that?
It's we're always trying to recruit pilots. Obviously, if you already have your multi-engine, if you already have your tail dragger, your
tail dragger. Is that a small plane or something?
No. Well, it can be small or large, but instead of having a tricycle gear where the tail's off the ground and sitting, it's where the tail is actually. There's two main gear in the wheels, in the wings. Sorry, excuse me. And then there's a tail wheel, and we call those tail draggers, and that's what the B-17 is. Basically, we're constantly looking for the guys who can come out and if you've got your endorsements, come on out, and yeah, we can actually teach you, get you type rated, and you could be taking a real live one of 9 B-17s to an air show or a fly-in.
Yeah, because that's one thing that when y'all say y'all are doing this, and interested me seeing how modernized the plane has become because of the regulations and the FAA expectations of when you're flying, because they're on your butt, I imagine, every time you even fly. They come and check it. I mean, that's the way I see airplanes really working, because airplanes are pretty fragile things.
Well, and that's absolutely correct. And kind of along those lines, we actually lost one of our fellow air show aviators yesterday at an air show, and we're kind of sad about that. But there's a guy named Eddie who flew a biplane. Things happen. The FAA wants to make sure that it's as safe as possible. Just like, when you're driving your car, you want to make sure your oil is, changed regularly and all that. They're just more spot on telling us when each part needs to be replaced or what have you. So it gets interesting. The way they operate, the way they watch over us.
One of the most interesting things to me, as I become more familiar with this airplane, is kind of the mix of old and new, so that we ensure that all of our passengers are as safe as possible. So, for example, the B-17 Flying Fortress is fitted with modern avionics. So
we guess we have to remind people listening, you have an opportunity to fly in the B-17. This isn't just for you're on the ground looking at it. They actually you guys make it so I could go onto the
That's
airplane,
right.
beyond takeoff, beyond. I guess how long do you get to stay in the air? Forever. That's great. And then.
Well, if you're like the people at Barksdale Air Force Base's air show, they got to take a flight and got weathered out, and actually ended up being up in the air for an awful long time. But
Lucky them.
Yeah, they
in a scary way. But.
Well, no, it was awesome. We weren't anywhere near weather, but it was just that when they took off, it was great, and then they went out to do their flight, and it got kind of. They got kind of weathered
Foggy,
out and
hazy,
a little bit. It was just a little bit of rain and nothing big. So they had to wait for that to pass through. It was just a shower, and they came back in. But they got a little bonus flight. But about 30 to 45 minutes of actual airtime.
Yeah, I just want to make sure the audience knew that. Sorry, Nancy. I just want to be like, hey, you
not
can
at
ride
all.
in it.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can.
absolutely.
You can ride in it.
And to your point, yes, the FAA is very interested in us.
Oh, I imagine.
When we sell rides to the general public. And so our aircraft has a specific certification from the FAA that allows us to do these excursion kinds of flights. We aren't allowed to pick you up in one city and put you down in another. That's United
stinks.
Airlines' job.
That's
Right.
But
well, I guess what amazes me too is my mental picture of it is back when these things were operational for the Air Force, they didn't really have a lot of seats. Like the crew was moving. And so that's the way I imagine that it was built, so you can move around. But now that if you're, I guess, a visitor or a person who's flying, they have to sit still and they have to this is a lot of fun. But I'll be like, I want to get in the turret. I want to go up front.
Well, obviously you can go to the waist windows and play with the machine guns and imagine
During the flight?
during the
Yes,
flight
sir.
you can stand up at one. Obviously you take off and land in a seat. And you're strapped in with a harness and everything, just like anyone else. And even back in the day, believe it or not, they all had seats and they were all strapped in. And then when they got across the channel or wherever the pilot decided, then they went to their battle stations. But it's kind of the same as it was back then. You strap in and you take off, and you can move about the cabin once our pilot says it's okay, and then once he says okay, it's time to get strapped in, you go strap back in. But we don't let people into the tail in flight. It would take a long time to get people in and out of there. We don't let anybody in the ball turret. I know that's a bummer for a lot of people. They all want to
this is true.
get that feeling, believe it or not. Or not all, but a lot of them really, they'd like to see what it feels like. And but yeah, you can move around. You can see what's going on in the cockpit.
Well, what's neat to
All that
me is I imagine being up in the air in this machine, the sound. Because
it's
typically,
beautiful.
like one time I've flown in an airplane, they have so many cushions that you can kind of hear when you go up in the air. I guess the air pressure gets greater, but in these, I imagine you can hear a lot more. Like you can actually hear the wind gushing. You can hear the rain. If it's raining, you actually hear the rain hitting the steel.
Sure, and we don't usually fly in the rain because we're extremely careful about taking care of our airplane.
Oh, yeah.
It's a flying museum. But yeah, it's you can definitely hear a lot of the wind.
The engine,
the engines are just the power is just amazing. It's quite a feeling actually.
But that's what I can't.
It's a rush.
I can't imagine it because of being in the plane while it's happening, because it's a completely different experience. I imagine from flying in a modern airplane.
This is
sure.
not getting on United Airlines.
Yeah.
And we actually give ear protection, earplugs to our passengers.
No way, I take those out. I'm like, let's see what really happens, and then
Yeah,
I go
it's-
deaf, and then I go deaf. But
Well, it won't make you deaf, but it's loud, needless to say, and it's dramatic. I mean, the whole thing. You get the whole the smell of the exhaust, which is a little bit
yeah.
different. It's not like when you see a
behind a F450, and he just
well, yeah,
let
a
it loose.
737 going to Austin or whatever. It's different, and you can feel the power, the rumble, and it's just kind of like getting into an old muscle car if you're a car fan, and someone cranks up that
That's pretty neat, especially when
big
you're
old
idle.
442 and it's rumbling. Sure, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
I know
It's
exactly what
neat.
you're talking about.
Sure.
Our aircraft has been characterized by Air Classics magazine as the most authentically restored B-17. So you really get the experience when you climb on our aircraft. And if you fly in it, it's easy to close your eyes, put your hands on the machine guns, and imagine what it would have been like. Imagine what it would have been like to be a 20-year-old right off the farm in middle America, through boot camp, through aviation school, and you're on the biggest airplane in the air of the time flying over Germany.
It would be scary, I imagine, but also if you're really into airplanes, it'd be pretty magical.
It's a very thrilling
opportunity
experience.
to be part of that. But at that
Absolutely.
current time, I think it'd be a little different mindset. But I'm sitting here with the folks from the B17 Texas Raiders. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to learn more about what's coming up May 10th, May 25th, and also what's going on for the rest of the summer with these folks. As we're on our break, check out www.b17texasraiders.org to see exactly what we're talking about, especially with this B-17, how beautiful the aircraft is. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, that's what we're going to talk about. You're listening to Mornings with Lone Star. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hello, I'm Mark Hader.
And this is Cindy Cochran inviting you to join us on the Cindy and Mark Show each weekday morning from 10 to 11 here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
Super, Cindy, but I believe it's the Mark and Cindy Show.
Huh? Yes, it is, Mark. And it's broadcast live on Lone Star Internet Radio here in beautiful downtown Conroe. Oh, the exciting things we'll talk about, the interesting guests you'll get to meet, the wonderful gifts we'll give away, and the tons
Wait. Gifts? There are no gifts. I'm not giving away anything. Why do you get to decide on what we do? It's Mark and Cindy, remember?
Oh, yeah? Well, so ladies and gentlemen, tune in and we'll all find out who gets to decide stuff. Weekday mornings at 10 here on Lone Star Internet Radio. How was that?
It could have been worse. You could have sung your part.
Oh, yeah, wait. It's the Mark and Cindy Show. The Mark and Cindy Show. The Mark and Cindy Show. The Mark and Cindy Show.
Do you ever wonder what's going on in the business community? Are you looking for ways to get plugged in? Cassandra Roshan here, Director of Membership Development with the Greater Conroe, Lake Conroe Area Chamber of Commerce, and I would like to invite you to tune in to Chamber Chat. Tune in the first Tuesday of every month at 11 a.m. so you will be in the know for all Chamber happenings for the month. Each month, the Chamber offers 2 free lunch and learn sessions, a networking breakfast, business after hours, membership luncheon, as well as many other special events throughout the year. I will give you a rundown of all programs and events for the month, as well as interview our speakers and hosts of these events. So grab a cup of coffee and tune in to Chamber Chat the first Tuesday of every month at 11 a.m. Chat with you then.
And we're back with Mornings with Lone Star. It is 8:40. I'm hanging out with the folks from B17 TexasRaiders.org. They're upcoming May 10th and May 25th at Hooks Airport. They're doing I guess it's the full deal. You get to view the plane, get in the plane, and even if you want to, you can fly in the plane.
That's right.
So you're doing the full deal. So for folks coming out on May 10th, what time does this whole event start?
Doors will be open at 10 o'clock in the morning on May 10th. And in fact, the Chamber of Commerce is coming to visit with a few of the city dignitaries.
Oh, cool.
We'll have a little welcome from the Chamber of Commerce. And then we'll be doing tours on the ground for adults and families. Tours are $10 for adults, $5 for children under 12, and $20 for the whole family to come aboard and get the guided tour. In the afternoon, starting about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll be flying the B-17. So folks who like to come out and watch the airplane fly are welcome. People who want that ultimate living history experience can buy a ride on the B-17. They want to make a reservation to do that, and we are already selling seats. So if they're interested in flying with us, they should call us, 855-FLY-A-B-17, and we'll be happy to take a reservation. Flights on the Big Bomber start at $475 for about a 30-minute flight experience in the air, and about a 90-minute overall flight experience that includes an introduction to the aircraft, talk from the crew, a photo with the crew, and that sort of thing. So and that'll be going on in the afternoon of the 10th.
And what are you allowed to do up in the air that you're not allowed to talk about right now? Is there any other things you can tell me?
Well, for donations, we can pretty much do anything. No, I'm just kidding.
But you can reserve the entire aircraft.
Absolutely.
If
we've had corporate people decide that they'd like to give an incentive ride to their performers, their high performers in the in their market, and they come out. We've had people take the plane for weddings.
Indeed.
And we've even had people decide, hey, Grandpa was a B-17 pilot. We're going to spread his ashes from the B-17.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. We're not just, I mean, we do a kind of a pretty much the same thing all the time, but every once in a while we get a little bit of a change up here and there.
And that happens more than you might think. We actually have a family reserve the entire aircraft this month for a birthday celebration. We have a wedding scheduled in
how
July.
often do you know where a B-17 is that's fully operational? So it's like, oh, I need one. Well, who do you call? 855 fly B-17. That's who you call.
That's right.
We're available for bar mitzvahs and sweet 16 parties.
Quinceañeras.
There's got to be some crazy ones. Like, I guess you can't parachute from it, can you?
We actually have had parachute teams jump from the aircraft. We have to get special permission, obviously.
Yeah.
Once again, back to the FAA, kind of making sure everything's, on the up and up and cool. But yes, we've actually had the U.S. Army Golden Knights parachute from our aircraft at an air show. So anything's possible within reason.
Another very cool thing that we do is perform as a part of Combat Reenactment Act. You may have heard the reenactment performers called Tora. Mm-hmm. Some of them actually reside here in Montgomery County, here at Lone Star Executive Airport with their replica Japanese Zeros. The B17 Texas Raiders partners with Tora at air shows. That includes a reenactment of the attack at Pearl Harbor, complete with pyrotechnics, bombs, lots of flames and things blowing up. And we'll be doing that in this month as well at the Hondo Municipal Airport, which is just outside of San Antonio. So if you've got folks who like to go watch things blow up, you want to come down to Hondo and see us perform a reenactment of the attack on Pearl Harbor with Tora. That's pretty dramatic if you haven't seen that one.
You can find that out on B17 TexasRaiders.org.
Yes.
All that stuff.
Or look for us on Facebook.
Sure. B17 Texas Raiders on Facebook. Do the search, CAF Gulf Coast Wings, B17 Texas Raiders, or just B17 Texas Raiders on Facebook.
You'll see some really good photographs on Facebook too, of our current events and upcoming events too.
So you come out May 10th to Hooks Airport in Spring, Texas, and it's $10 for a tour, $5 for children, and then y'all are going to start around 1 o'clock flying.
That's right.
So doors open at 10 o'clock, folks. And if you want to find more information about this, go to b17texasraiders.org. Or if you're looking for a phone number, really easy to remember, 855-FLY-A-B-17. Thank you guys so much for coming into the studio. I can't wait to have you guys back in when we talk about the upcoming June over at the Conroe Airport.
We'll be
back.
yes.
That's going to be a lot of fun. But to let people know again, that's b17texasraiders.org. Fly. Put your hands on history. Put your flying a real B-17. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks again, guys, for coming in.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yes,
Thanks,
anytime. Coming up on Lone Star Internet Radio, we got the Mark and Cindy Show at 10 o'clock. Before that, which should be Cody Spence of All Star Catering is going to come into the studio. Maybe we're going to try some of their food from All Star. Well, we're going to be having him in very shortly. But coming up on Lone Star right now will be a little bit of Brandon Ryder with Leave. You're listening to Lone Star Internet Radio.
I heard your footsteps down the hall. I pretended I was asleep, 'cause I don't want to.
Hey everyone, this is Tina, your host from Retro Saturdays. I wanted to invite you to visit the Lone Star Studios here in downtown Conroe, Texas. We're all volunteers here, and we need your help in serving the Montgomery County area. Radio media is a fun field to be in. Lone Star Internet Radio serves Montgomery County with news, current events, local programming, and of course, music. If you are interested in volunteering and sharing your talents in media, go to irlonestar.com and let us hear from you. Lone Star Internet Radio, serving Montgomery County from the heart of downtown Conroe.